Good morning. Afakasi Raider and your boy down below, Millennial Raider, doing another edition of Wake Up Nation. We're usually joined by my guy, 98, but he is busy at work, so doing an impromptu stream with yours truly, your boy down below, Millennial Raider. How are we, brother? That is a very nice cap you're sporting right there.
Thank you. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's stress-free week, right? Don't have to worry about a game coming up Sunday, but nah, I mean we're doing good. Yeah.
Is that a Charlie Gardner shirt?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it. Rocking the cap that you won from the last stream that you joined us on.
Yes, sir. I love that.
Guess the former Raider contest. You blew on 6 out of the water. Living up to the millennial name. I'm gonna have to find someone else to challenge you, right?
I don't know, man. I'm a weird guy. I remember like numbers by players. So if I see like 15, I got to remember that. I'll be like, all right, Johnny Lee Higgins. And
right. Just let me salute the chat first. Robert, Grizzly on 6, and Sal, good morning to you guys. Hope all is well. Now, that's okay. I wanted to address that because I guess that's what we share in common, that like we both have a interest and a fond memories of around that same period. Granted, my period of Raider fandom started a little bit later than yours, but even though most of the time it was some dark times, like I still have nostalgia going back and thinking about like those times and the players and that, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we have in common.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, before I open up this box that I got right here, by yours truly, and shout out to Pedro. I know he's watching. He was supposed to join us, but work came calling. Look forward to opening it up. I'll open it up in about, another 10 minutes. How are you feeling, Millennial, about the non-firing of Antonio Pierce? Seems like his job is safe for now.
I don't know. I was very critical, I guess, of Antonio Pierce throughout the offseason, throughout the full season. But when he kind of I was getting very annoyed with the tank talking, and when he kind of just stood up there and told everybody, talk to Tom Telesco, meaning he didn't really care about a tank, he was kind of growing on me, I like people who kind of just stand on business, right? I feel like the last offseason, a lot of just like trying to save face, PR, please Raider fans, stuff like that. This year, it sounds like they might get to work. And so I'm kind of happy that Mark Davis is standing on business, sticking to his hire, sticking to something. I'm glad the guys are going to get consistency. If it's true to what he said, where he wasn't trusting his gut and he just kept taking advice, I believe it. The only thing that really I'm concerned about is just, game management, timeout handling, stuff like that was just kind of annoying me. And so, I mean, if he can clean that up and these guys are still fighting for him, I mean, why not? Before it just felt like a gimmick. Now it seems like they mean business. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I like seeing.
And if he caught a lot of the player interviews straight after the game, they all were giving when they were asked about Antonio, they all gave him their support and endorsement, something which the last guy on the door most definitely didn't have. So yeah, look, I'm glad that they stuck with consistency. Am I happy with the job that he did and with the team as a whole this season? Absolutely not. Is there things that he needs to improve? Absolutely. But I'm hoping with time they can improve. And now that we have consistency and we're not going to go through a coaching carousel of who are we firing and rehiring, we may still do that with our assistant coaches on the offensive side. On the defensive side, we may lose Patrick Graham. But at least with the head coach, there's some stability. So I do like that. I'm just hoping that, I never wavered from the fact that Antonio Pierce is my guy. He still is my guy, and I still believe the guy is the guy who's going to take us to where we need to be in time. I just want him to make good on that. You know what I'm saying? So now that it seems like he's staying in the door, all I ask for Raider Nation, whether you like the move or whether you don't, he is our head coach. If he's winning, we're winning. and that's what we want, right? So I think we should all just come together, get behind him. I mean, even when Josh McDaniels was our coach last season, he was never my guy, but I always wanted him to win. I tried to support the guy despite me not liking him because, like I said, if the Raiders are winning, if he's winning, that means the Raiders are winning, and that's what we want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the type of guy who likes to get on a YouTube and say, I told you so about things that are detrimental to my Raiders. No, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? So let's try to unite the clan, so to say, and let's get behind him, and hopefully it can all turn around with the offseason, with free agency and the draft, right? So the Chargers game, how'd you feel about
It was a good first half, and then they just kind of blew us out the water. I hate losing to the Chargers, man. I hate blowouts by the Chargers. I hate it all. So it wasn't a very, very good day for me. I think out of the AFC rivals, the Chargers were like the least, just growing up, and so it sucks because it just, I kind of reminisce about, what was it, 2-3 years ago, where we're in playoff contention and we send them home and we eliminate them, and then fast forward 3 years later, we have a game like that, and it just sucks. So hopefully the players are pissed off about it. Hopefully the coaches are pissed off about it, and we sweep them next year.
For sure. It seems like we always play the Chargers last or second to last in the season. I have some good memories of our final outings with the Chargers, and I have some not so fond memories with our games against the Chargers. But I'm right there with you. Like, to me, they're, I don't know. I guess of now, like, I mean, you might hate the Chiefs a little bit more than not these days, but the Chargers was, for me, the team that I despised the most back in the day, because they were, when I first started, they were a pretty good outfit, and Phil Rivers used to talk a lot of trash on us.
Yeah, LaDainian Thomas used to torture us.
As much as I hated the guy, I can respect.
Yeah.
I
And
mean?
sorry, I didn't interrupt. My bad.
Yeah, you good? Go.
I was a little annoyed. I just felt weird because I have memories of Norv Turner getting beat by the Chargers final game. I have memories of Norv Turner beating us on the Chargers on the final game, and then like 20 years later, he's still losing to the Chargers on the final game.
That's right. He was their head coach for a little while, wasn't he?
He was our head coach. He was their head coach, and then he came back to haunt me, I guess. So,
yeah. One of my favorite games back in the day was that game where Tyvon Branch ran that strip sack for the game-winning touchdown, and we blocked like, I don't know how many punts and field. It was like 2 or 3 punts that game. It was a crazy day, and one of my favorite games in that I was able to watch live on the TV with my own 2 eyes. And then one of my not so favorite memories was, I think, the next season where we needed to win the last game of the year, and we just laid a big fat goose egg, right?
Philip Rivers went off. I remember that game. That was
I was just asleep from the opening whistle. We were just asleep.
That was my first year at the season tickets, and I had like my wild card game ticket already like paid for. I remember going to that game like, yes, we're about to win. Like, there's no way we're losing.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, and then
oh no,
yeah, I was there, fully thinking we were gonna win. Like, there was no way we were gonna lose this game.
Yeah,
that one was crazy.
Like I said, I have some fond memories and not so fond memories, and even of late, like I have some fond memories, like the big blowout from last season. And then some not so fond memories, some of the other games of late where we're just getting our butts kicked.
Yeah.
So.
I will say that I'm a fan of Justin Herbert. I like the way he plays. Like, he's got grit. He's a good quarterback. I like, out of like all the quarterbacks in the AFC West, by quarterback play, I think Herbert is my favorite, just because he's a dog, man. I feel like
I would say of the guy. I don't usually take an interest in players that aren't Raiders, but of the quarterbacks that are starting against us in our own division, he's probably the guy I hate the least. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, sure.
I'll give you that. But what about Aiden O'Connell? How do you feel about him and us? Yes.
I'm annoyed that we're getting a late start. I wish he had started week 1 and we can really have an answer versus us just kind of dragging our feet and starting Minshew and then benching Minshew and then starting him again and then benching him again. Like we benched him 4 times. You know what I mean? And so we were just playing games at that point.
Right.
Like I said, I feel like the whole offense is just different when he's on the field. And so that's different, right? Like he's not going to amaze us with quarterback play, but he's going to bring an energy to the offense that I haven't seen anyone bring in a while, and so I like him. I like his energy. If we can't get a quarterback, I'm comfortable with him managing it as long as we build some more weapons around him because, he obviously can utilize Brock Bowers. Like he's good at that. You know what I mean? And so if we get some more playmakers, I mean, he can utilize Jacoby Myers. Like he's good. I don't think he's going to be like our foundation of a team or anything like that. But I think he's,
Aiden O'Connell or Jacoby Myers you talking about?
Aiden O'Connell. I don't think Aiden O'Connell is going to be like a, foundation, but I think he's a good, bridge quarterback to give us options, you know what I mean, and not be desperate. So
right,
that's what I feel.
I guess you share my view on Aiden O'Connell. Like I like the guy. I think that he's good enough to start and win us some games, but I'm still not sold on him being the guy that's going to take us to the future. And like for me, like this is just my gut speaking. I don't have a professional take on anything, you know what I'm saying? But for me, his ceiling is like he's good, can be very good. I don't see him being excellent enough to get us deep into the playoffs and possibly to a Super Bowl, which is ideally what you want with if you're going to have a young quarterback that you're going to move forward with, so to say. So I still hope we take that route in the draft. We don't have to reach for one. Just hopefully there's someone in whatever spot that they take or look to take one, whether it's round 1 or round 2, round 3, I don't care. But let's bring in a young blood in the door and see if he can give us some competition, some hope, and possibly be that guy. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting point of interest come next off season. But like it sucks because like once again we lose from like a game-changing turnover. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems to have been the bane of our season. We make these costly mistakes that end up swinging the momentum all the way to the other side. Because I mean, remember we were winning, I believe, but still by a point. And then he threw an interception just before the half, which did they turn into 7 points or 3 points?
I don't remember that.
Whatever they did.
I think they turned into a 7 points because I was like,
right. So the momentum fully swung their way. And it was a bad throw. Like, look, I didn't think it was all the way terrible in that game, but like that particular throw, like I said, led to a game-changing momentum swing. And salute to you, Robert. I see you in the building. Like, I didn't think we've played all the way terrible. Like, if I'm going to be honest, like the scoreline looks worse than what I think it was. For me, like, for the most part, like the defense tried to do their job. It was just a case of the Chargers is just simply the better team. They had the better execution. They had the better personnel, better coaching, like just better across the board. And that's just something that I hope we can change next season, beginning with free agency, what players we re-sign, and then what players we're going to bring in the door. Like I for one want to see more urgency when it comes to free agency than last free agency period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, what say you? Should I get?
Let's do this, man.
We got 28 people in the chat, so appreciate everybody. Like, leave a like, subscribe, and all that. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna make myself a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Moments. Just gonna bring up the layouts.
Yeah, dude, that was sitting in my closet for like 3 months, bro.
All right, so I got this care package here from my guy down below, Millennial Raider, and I think didn't shout out to Pedro have something to do with this?
Yes, Pedro Pedro, there's a black jersey in there that Pedro threw in.
Don't
Hey,
spoil
you don't know what jersey it is, nothing. So
it. Don't spoil it. I
Yeah.
want to see for myself, but I appreciate you,
yeah.
Millennial and Pedro. So thank you very much, man. Like, this is very humbling to receive such a great gift. Like, honestly, man, I didn't get anything for Christmas, so this for me is like,
Hell yeah.
this is awesome.
I mean, everybody watching, he's my guy right here. Since day one, he's been supporting me. So I just
and you,
show
me,
my guy love.
All right, so just give me one moment, chat. Use usually like a center point to cut the.
Yeah, I probably taped the crap out of it, so my bad.
That's all right.
It was traveling across the world. I didn't want it to.
Well, that it was.
Fun fact: that's packaging from Woodson Whiskey that I reused.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Wonder if they ship to Australia. I need to get myself some of those. Maybe one day when I'm a big time YouTuber, they'll sponsor me.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna take out item number 1. So here's a black jersey. I'm gonna open it. Oh my goodness! So this is a Derek Carr jersey, but it's actually been signed by Derek Carr. Wow, that's awesome. Is that from you or from Pedro?
That's Pedro. Pedro sent that.
And salute to you, James and Robert. That's Alex and Chopper the dog. You can kiss my ass. I see your comment. I'm having fun. So I appreciate you, man. Sorry, did you say it was from you or from Pedro?
That's Pedro.
Pedro, my guy. Thank you very much. I'm gonna try and look to get this framed, but that's wow, such a beautiful gift. Appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna put this to the side just for now. Put it over there. All right, item number.
Open that last. Move that out. Open that last.
Okay. All right. So this one here is.
Can you guess those?
Some signatures. Piece of paper. So that's. I'm gonna guess that's Marcel Reese.
Yep.
Oh wow. 99. Is that Alden Smith?
No. Come on, man. It's our team.
Lamar Houston?
Yeah.
Nice. Number 77. Is that an offensive lineman?
No. He's a part of the same defensive lineman as Lamar Houston.
Matt Shaughnessy?
Yeah.
Oh wow. And number 33. Who wore 33?
Come on, man. That's my guy.
Mike Mitchell?
No, we just talked about him. Tyvon Branch.
Crying. What is number? Tyvon Branch. We were just talking about him.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Chopper the dog. No worries, man. That's cool. Wow. Awesome. Another beautiful gift. So some signatures of some Raider players that are dear to my heart, being that that was around the time I was just discussing with Millennial around the time I first started being a Raider fan. So Marcel Reese, Matt Shaughnessy, Tyvon Branch. Why didn't I guess Tyvon Branch? And Lamar Houston. So another beautiful gift. Thank you very much.
I haven't ever been able to get Mike Mitchell, man. That guy, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I can imagine it would have been hard. So I got an envelope with some stuff. I got some stickers, some Millennial stickers. I'll put that on my wall behind me. There we go. Oh, hello. We got a numbered autograph by Tywan Jones. I love Tywan Jones. One of my favorite special teamer, scat back, part-time defensive back. Tywan Jones. That's cool. That's what's up. That looks like it's a 2010. Was he drafted in 2010?
2011, I think.
2011. But didn't they stop wearing Reebok in 2011? Wearing Reebok.
I think 2012 was the Nike year.
No, I'm pretty sure it was 2011.
I don't know. Maybe.
Pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but a beautiful card nevertheless. So thank you very much. That's awesome. Then we got Zach Miller. A Zach Miller autograph card. I love Zach Miller. Again, another one of my Raider faves from back in the day. So this is 2007. So that was the year he was drafted, right?
Yeah. He's wearing 45 right there, right?
Yeah, second rounder. Awesome. And what's up, Cheeto? Nice to see you, my friend. All right, who's next? A rookie ticket. Oh, this is Nutty Raider Nate. Shout out to Nate's one of his favorite players. That's Michael Bush. A rookie ticket autograph card of Michael Bush. Wow. That's awesome. It's a very nice card right there. I'm gonna see. Is he wearing Nike or is he? Yeah, he's wearing Reebok. So I'm guessing 2008, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably when his rookie
2000.
year.
Oh, okay. So it's showing his 2006 stats. So that's a 2007 card.
Oh wow,
so Michael Bush right there. What's going on, West Side? Nice to see you in the feed, my friend. Hope all is well. Oh, here we go. One of my fave Raiders from back in the day. Denarius Moore. Is that numbered? It's not numbered, but it's autographed. So that's wicked. That's so good. So you got Taiwan Jones, Zach Miller, Michael Bush, and Denarius Moore. That's to go with my Jacoby Ford patch auto that I.
Oh, nice. I know you had that. That's tight.
I used to have a whole gang of patch auto cards that I had sitting in my closet for the longest time, and then when I was in transition, moving from place to place, I lost all of them but this one.
It was meant to be. That's the one.
5. that's wicked. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Is there anything else in the envelope? No.
No.
Am I missing anything else?
No, that's it. Time to open the.
All right. So the last one. Oh boy. This is a white jersey, and it is my guy, Darren McFadden. And it's signed. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, my God. This is one of my favorite Raiders of all time. And now I have an autographed jersey. Oh, look at that. See? Millennial, I don't know what to say, man. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's one of the best Christmas presents I ever got. I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate you, Pedro. That means a lot to me. My man, thank you. Thank you, Pedro. Millennial. I appreciate you. I'm gonna
show the full jersey. We got to see the McFadden. We got to see.
So this is McFadden. Got the white jersey. I'm gonna get this framed. I'm gonna find a space to put it behind me. You got this is a Derek Carr jersey with his autograph on it. That's it there. I know you'll appreciate that, West Side. Maybe there's some other people in the nation that won't appreciate it, but I appreciate it. So, signed jersey by Carr. And the piece of paper with Marcel Reese, not Taiwan Jones, Marcel Reese, Lamar Houston, Matt Shaughnessy, and Tyvon Branch. So, that's to round it up. So, thanks once again, Millennial. That was a beautiful gift and something that I will definitely cherish forever, my friend. So you and Pedro, salute to you guys. You you made my. I know it's Christmas. It's not Christmas. Like I think you sent it before Christmas. So
yeah,
it's a late Christmas gift. So I do appreciate it. So
no problem, bro.
Man, thank you. Makes all this YouTube stuff definitely worth it, so to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Melinda. Well, you got anything else you want to get off your chest? Otherwise, I got something.
Everybody, go check out the pin post for Cliff Branch giveaway. I'm doing it Saturday.
What's up, Anthony?
That's it.
All right. Well, since you got nothing else to share with us in terms of Raider news at the moment, Cheeto has a comment. Need that Hugh Jackson go with that team, right? Yeah. I have fond memories of that time. As there's a lot of people that I can see in the chat feed. But since you're here, Millennial, I thought maybe it might be a little bit of fun for us to get your takes. And salute you, Willie Wayne. Nice to see you in the feed, my friend. How much time do you have left, Millennial? Do you have 20 minutes?
Let me check. You said 10 minutes? Yeah, I got 10 minutes.
What about 15? Can you push 15?
15? Yeah, we push 15.
All right. So just give me a moment. I'm just going to bring the share screen up. Present. Entire screen. All right. There we Go. All right. So, Millennial, I am going to get your end of season review, and I'm going to get some grades from you if you don't mind. So at first we'll get some grades, and then we'll go some players and whatever is your opinion. So this is strictly your opinion. I can give you some feedback or whatever. It's Stick I see in the building. So without further ado, you ready to roll?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So what grade would you give the offense? You can go plus or minus if you need to as well.
Can I give him a D plus?
Yeah, sure.
All right, because I mean, out of that, to me, it was an F. To go around, and then they started picking up. So, nothing game changing, nothing season changing, but I guess more fun for us to watch. So they get a little love up there. Special teams, I don't know, man. I kind of want to give them an F. We missed a lot of field goals. Nah, I think we'll do a C. Just because there was times where we missed field goals. AJ Cole wasn't punting like he does, and so that was a little bit disappointing, right? The one thing we can rely on is our special teams, and they kind of let us down a little bit.
I'll read them out for you, man. Defense.
I think we just did defense, no?
No, we didn't. You missed it. I said offense.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Defense, my bad.
It's all right.
Defense, I'll give him like a B minus, C plus in there. You choose. I don't know.
No, you choose, man.
All right. We'll go C plus just because of the injuries. If if we were healthy, we probably would have had a better season. I
can agree with that.
There was some high spots, right? Like we got to see Tyree Wilson kind of show us that he's alive.
Is that enough for you? He's showing that he's alive.
Hey, man, he was out there and we didn't even notice it. Now we noticed him. I'll take that. I have him on my wall. I'm trying to build equity there. All right.
You're not going to sell to me that it's been good enough for a first round draft pick. No, sir. No way.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, but it's not his fault where the Raiders drafted him.
Oh, sorry, man. Don't give me that. I'm not giving. I don't give first round draft selections that concession. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Did DeMarcus Russell get that concession when he was considered a bust of all time?
No, but I don't consider him I get it. I don't totally hate DeMarcus Russell.
If you're drafted in the first round, dog, there is a bare minimum expectation. And if you're not producing as a starter, at the very least, then that's not good enough for me. But anyway.
I never blame the player when it comes to the Raiders coaching. I think he's on his third coach since he's been on, or second coach since he's been on the team. They're not taking him seriously. Anyways, what are we on, coaching or rookie class?
Is there anything else you want to say with defense?
I mean, there was some bright spots, but I just feel like we're about to lose them, right? Nate Hobbs posted that yesterday. Trayvon Moorhook's testing the market. So, I mean, those were my probably favorite spots of the defense. They did, I think Trayvon really grew into himself this year, and that was pretty awesome to see. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
We could potentially lose all our decent guys in the safety room and be left with our scraps, like not our scraps, but our developmental guys like Trey Taylor and who's that guy we drafted in the 6th round? Christopher Smith III, who was where the hell is that guy? And that's a scary thought. So I want us to bring back Morig and Polymel, but we'll see.
I liked Polymel too. He actually he was probably one of I'll save that for another stat.
Yeah. Well, look, I think he played himself to be re-signed, and I'm happy with him to consider being continue being a starter. I don't think we need to see any more of Marcus Epps. Thank you for your services, but I know the secondary liked the guy, but I mean, how often did he make game-changing plays and do stuff that made you take notice, like wow, like Polymau did. I can't remember anything. So Marcus Epps, thank you for your services. But if we're going to re-sign, I'm all with Polymau and Trayvon Morrig. But we can continue that conversation for another day, right? Coaching.
Can I give it an F plus?
D minus or F?
Well, the F plus just gives it more. It doesn't even make sense, right? We'll do a D minus. The only reason why they're getting a D minus, the only reason why they don't get an F is because Antonio Pierce can inspire the team, and that's pretty much all we had riding this season was they're playing hard for him. And so
I would give Patrick Graham, like his coaching. I've always thought that he's done his best to do what he can with the personnel that we have, being that we missed out on some of the key players that we were banking on to be the strength of this team. So it's something else to consider.
He's holding back Tyree Wilson. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't even get me started.
I'm just kidding.
Don't even get me started. Go ahead, man.
What are we on? Rookie class?
So that's it with the coaching. You just want to settle with the D minus?
Yeah, I mean, it was, pretty. Everybody had advisors. Getsy got fired. I'm not like completely sold on this defense yet. Like, so I can't like give any points because of Patrick Graham, in my opinion. So
you're not sold on Patrick Graham's coaching it. You're sold on Tyree Wilson.
I have him on my wall, man. I'm just trying to build equity here. That's all I'm trying to do.
All right. Rookie class. What would you give their grade for?
Honestly, I mean, I feel like it can be overrated. Oh, I don't want to say overrated. I feel like rookie classes are hard for me to like judge now, right? 2-3 years.
I'm not
I'll
asking
be able
you
to
give
accurate.
a final grade. Just how do you feel like the rookie class as a whole did their first season?
We'll give them a B plus.
Okay, that's what's up.
B plus.
I can dig that. I can agree with that grade. Finding 3 good starters is definitely mission accomplished with the draft. Finding ourselves what could be a generational player in round 1. That's what you want, round 1. Not a fucking Tyree Wilson who's a rotational guy at best.
Who's alive?
Who's alive, quotation marks. Not good enough. But look, there's Cam Richardson who, he got cooked. Yeah, it was trial by fire with him, but he's a developmental guy who there's some things that I like that I think he can be coached to be a decent enough depth guy. And then the other guys, look, we're still waiting for them to do something, but that's okay. I can live with that with the back end of the draft because many a times in recent history with our draft classes, we're looking at the back end of our draft to make up for the fuck-ups in our first few rounds, right? So it's supposed to be like this where the last few picks, if we can get 1 or 2 depth rotational guys, that's cool. You know what I mean? I can live with that. As long as we get it right with our round 1, round 2, hopefully round 3, and hopefully round 4, which is what we did this year. You know what I'm saying? And I want more of that moving forward. So shout out to the rookies and Brock Bowers, who broke records, which will bring us to our next question. So rookie standout. So give me a name for this one.
I mean, obviously it's going to be Brock Bowers, right? And I can't.
We'll get to that, Grizzly.
Else. He's
absolutely.
Yeah, there's no better rookie season.
Special mentions to the other guys. We were talking about the 3 rookies being that the other 2 was Jackson Powers Johnson, who's a nasty blocker, should be our center for the future and a core piece for that offensive line moving forward. I really like what I see from him. He gives me shades of a young Richie Incognito and brings that Raider mentality, that enforcer type mentality, something that I feel like our offensive line has lacked since Richie Incognito left, and that we haven't had since like we had that stellar offensive line in 2016. You know, with Kelechi Assembly, Rodney Hudson, Donald Penn, and Gabe Jackson. All of those guys were enforcer, bad motherfucker type guys. And salute to you, Jeff, New England Booster Club. Nice to see you, my friend. Hope all is well. But I hope with Jackson Powers Johnson and DJ Glaze, another guy who surprised me, that they can lead the charge to building this offensive line for the future. But Brock Bowers, it can't be any other answer. I mean, having a record-breaking rookie season, I mean, that is what you want. That's the bullseye with your round 1 draft picks. Is like my bare minimum expectation is you got to be a starter, come year 2, and a good enough player to start and do your part. Like hopefully, ideally, like someone we can build around. But the ultimate bullseye is these Brock Bowers, Khalil Mack, Josh Jacobs type picks. These are guys we can build our team around and our core pieces for the team moving forward. So we hit it out of the ballpark with Brock Bowers, and I think he's going to be a good Raider for many years. We just need to find someone who's going to be a steadfast thrower to him, right? Offensive standout. Who was your? Could be the same answer again.
Yeah, literally. That's my. I was trying to like, should I go Jacoby? But I'd literally just go to Jacoby to avoid doing Brock Bowers again. But he deserves it. Brock Bowers.
Oh, that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers. All right. Jacoby Myers, shout out to him. He got his first 1,000-yard rushing season. And he definitely established himself as a good enough wide receiver in his own right. He didn't need to be the number 2 to Devontae Adams. Like when he was relied upon to be the number 1 for us, he was productive enough. So shout out to Jacoby Myers, a guy who's been the quiet achiever and consistent since he's been in the door. So one of the better free agents that we've signed in the last couple of years. So shout out to Jacoby. Who would be your defensive standout?
It's gonna be Trayvon
Morik?
Yeah. I'm just a fan, man. He doesn't do a lot of the hoorah, right? Like he just kind of makes the play and gets ready for the next one. And so he doesn't get enough shine, I don't think, and so yeah.
You have an affinity for safeties, don't you?
I try not to, but like I said, when they have that type of attitude, I can respect it.
Morig is a polarizing guy. Some people are not too high on him as what you are, and I like Morig. I think he's lived up to that round 2 expectation, and in the last 2 seasons, he's steadily just gotten better and been a consistent piece, in my personal opinion. I hope he resigns. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But he's definitely one of the priorities for me on that defensive side of the ball. I want to see him. I want to see Nate Hobbs. I want to see Malcolm Kuntz back. I even want to see Giovanni Diablo back, but we will see. But yeah, Trayvon Morig, yeah, he had a good year. Max Crosby playing hurt week in, week out. Robert Spillane being the consistent as well.
Spillane probably would have been my 1A. I like Spillane a lot.
Jacorian Bennett had a surprisingly good year. And I would say another shout out would go to Kalavon Chason, who, like you talked about Tyreek, I thought he was the guy who stood out personally, which will bring me back to the next one. Best free agent signing.
Gardner Minshew. No,
right.
Madison.
Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
Over Kalavon Chason and the others.
I mean, Kalavon Chason was going to be my surprise player.
You can have them the same answer.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what do you mean?
You can have him as both. I mean,
yeah. Well then, yeah.
Alexander Madison, I don't know. He was pretty mid, man. If I'm gonna be honest.
We didn't have that great of a free agency.
He did. I mean, if that's your answer, that's your answer. But
yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, I mean, there was he had some good runs, I guess. A complete dead running game. There was
3.4, 3.2 yards per carry. I mean, I'm sorry, dog, but that's not good.
All right. We'll go with Chason then. We'll change it.
Sorry, this is your
No.
I mean, I'm giving you my insight, but I don't know. Alexander Madison was pretty mid, if I'm gonna be honest.
The whole team was mid.
Right, but do you want to go with Alexander Madison?
We'll go with Chase on for the free agent, and then I'll go with I don't know how to say his name, Polo Mal for the surprise player.
Okay, I like that. But do you want to speak on Clavon Chason before we move?
I mean, it just felt like all the names that were being called out for the defensive line, no one was calling his name, and now we are. So, shout out to him for kind of turning that around.
Right. I really like Clavon Chason. I like what he's done since he started to. When we started to lose key players, I was hoping that it would be Tyree, but there was also Janarius Robinson and Charles Snowden, who had that good game against Cleveland, but then kind of dropped off after that.
Yeah.
But then we brought in Clavon Chason into the door, and there was no expectation from him. A guy who, and salute to Diesel, nice to see you in the feed. It's been a while, my friend. A guy who came in with no fanfare, fresh start, didn't live up to that first round draft pick that that the Jaguars used to select him. Come over here, a fresh start, and he started to really establish himself, much like Malcolm Kuntz did in the last half of the season. Like week in, week out, I noticed his hustle. He's making plays. He's getting sacks. He's getting interceptions, almost interceptions, batting balls, and something else I've highlighted on a few lives. I like he plays the screens really well, which is something that we usually really struggle with. Like we're usually one of the worst teams when it comes to playing the screens. But yeah, I for me, like Clavon Chason in that small body of time showed me what I want to see consistently from Tyree Wilson. So I like that answer. Clavon Chason.
Yeah. Well, for free agent, I low-key wanted to do Adam Butler because we technically brought him back in free agency, but he was a Raider.
We did.
Yeah,
I guess you could.
Yeah, he was good as well, but I mean, you can't go wrong. The defense, and we kind of knew that, right? Like in the preseason, our secondary pass rush was like they were on fire. So I was hoping it would just be like more of like an elite rotation instead of just leaning on these guys for the rest of the year. But yeah,
we will get to that, Leo. Don't you worry, my friend. Surprise player of the year. Who was it you said?
Palomau.
Isaiah Palomau. A nice answer there, and a pleasant surprise when Marcus Epps went down to injury. It seemed like we actually upgraded with Palomau, which I highlighted before. Salute to you, JT. Nice to see you in the feed, my friend.
I remember he was just like, I want to be different from my uncle. I want to be different. No. Be just like your uncle, please.
Well, he was making plays that were very, like, I mean, look, he's not Palomau. He's not Palomalu, not yet anyway. But I mean, that's an unfair expectation. But
no, but at least
as
try.
A player in his own right, like I liked what I saw from him, putting on big hits, putting on legal hits. He wasn't getting flagged, executing them at the point of when the receiver is catching the ball and hitting them hard enough to cause disruption. And also, like, the players usually are having to take a little dirt nap for a couple of extra seconds on the grass. You know what I mean? Because he hit him hard, but he hits them fair. Made some game-changing plays, and he won the Defensive Player of the Week, I think, a couple of weeks back. So shout out to Isaiah Palomau being that pleasant surprise, as well as Jacorian Bennett would be another guy I think would earn that consideration too, being that he was a guy who we were hoping he'd be a decent enough number 2, but this is a guy before injury who was locked down, shut down. Like nobody was completing passes on him almost entirely, you know what I'm saying? And like the guy I was hoping Jack Jones would be, I thought we were getting that production out of Jacorian Bennett. So salute to Jacorian Bennett. I can appreciate him. All right, now this is where things get interesting. Offensive dud.
That's easy. Gardner Minshew.
Is it easy though? There's quite a few candidates, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, but he was the leader of it, so he gets that.
Right. I'll go back to Leo's comment. He says, offensive dud, the running back stable. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that too, but I don't know. I didn't want him when we signed him. I didn't want him to start, and the Raiders didn't want him 4 times. So, it just was literally meaningless, that signing.
You could have Luke Getsy in there as well, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's disappointing players across the board, but my standouts would be your answer is Gardner Minshew. My answer would be that running back core, specifically Zamir White. I mean,
he fooled us on Christmas, didn't he?
Name me a feature back we've had ever in our history who's had a decent amount of carries, who averaged worse than him per carry this season. This is a guy who was our feature back for the most part this season. 60 plus carries for 2.what yards per carry. That is terrible. Atrocious. And I don't want to hear about these excuses that, oh, the offensive line. Well, why was it Sincere McCormick and Amir Abdullah able to run for a decent amount of yardage? Even Alexander Madison, as much as I said he was mid before, did a little bit better. I don't want to see Zamir White take another snap as a Raider. I'm done with him. And Madison too. He can go. We need a revamp. Do a complete overhaul of this running back room next season, as well as the quarterback room. But we will see. Defensive dud. Who's your dud on defense?
I don't know if you're gonna like my answer. Jack Jones.
I might not like it, but I can understand it.
Yeah, I mean it's either him or Bennett, right? But Jack Jones just had a lot. Not Bennett. Epps. My bad. Epps.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, I just feel like Jack Jones just had a lot of expectations, and he got cooked a lot. I definitely think he's coachable. Like I think it's stuff that we can probably work on, but there was a lot of expectations for him this year.
Right. I can agree with that. There was a lot of expectation, and I felt like he got better during the course of the season. Like I wouldn't say he was all the way terrible. And I noticed him making some plays, So there was times he was getting cooked, and there was times he was making plays. But I can understand why you would call, because there was that level of expectation.
I just feel like we were watching a lot of like scoring, passing touchdowns, and he was just kind of there, just hanging out. He should have did the Matt Giordano and faked an injury, just my leg.
Right. I still like Jack Jones, but like, did he live up to the expectation I had for him this season? No, if I'm going to be honest. But I don't think he was all the way terrible. He wasn't like Marcus Peters. He wasn't like a lot of these other cornerbacks for me that we've had in the room in the last decade and a bit that I've been a fan. So we've had some terrible guys out there. Honestly, my answer would be Tyree Wilson, if I'm going to be honest. Which I might sound like a hater, but I'll give him credit. Like he had been. There's been moments where he's done well enough. He's done some spot plays, and some games where he's done reasonably well. But like once again, like there's got to be a bare minimum expectation if you're picked in the first round, and no one's going to sell me that he's come close to living up to it yet, but he still has a chance next season. And I'm going to bring to the stage Jeff. Nice to see you, my friend. Salute to salute. Bit late than ever, but good to see you, my friend. Can you hear us? I think he's having audio issues. Nope. Can't hear nada. Oh, wait, hang on. I got you muted. Nope. You got to unmute yourself. Can't hear you, man. Back out of the StreamYard, and then go to your settings and test your microphone. So back all the way out, close window, and come back. All right, cool. Sweet. All right, we'll go to the next one to finish it off, and then you got to get going, right?
Yeah.
What would be your final grade for this season?
We'll do like a C- or D.
Wow, that's generous.
No, we'll do D+. We'll do D+. I can't give him anything average. I'm gonna go below average. And I'm basing this off of what I honestly expected of it. I didn't think we were gonna get 4 wins. So it was a rough season. We did have that 10-game stretch, but the way they ended, the attitude they had, it felt more like Raider-esque. You know what I mean? I felt like last year the ending was very It was just they were serving a crowd. You know what I mean? They were getting cool points, all that stuff. Now it kind of got ugly, and they're standing on business with consistency and kind of sticking to what they believe in versus what the trend is. So I kind of like seeing that at the end.
I would agree with that grade. D plus D. Leo says D minus. That 10-game losing streak was rough. It was. Once again, we were back to the Stone Age, it seemed. Giving me shades of that 2014 season when we lost 10 straight again. But I will say, like, this is not saying much, but during that 10-game losing streak, like, yeah, there were games where we weren't really in it, but there weren't games where we were getting blown out like that season where we had like 52 skunk games. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
yeah.
That was terrible.
Right. So I can at least appreciate that, at least on the defensive side of the ball, we were trying to hold it down. But we got to get better across the board. But salute to you. I appreciate your takes in that. We'll bring the layer up here, and then I'm going to wait for Jeff to come on and shoot with him for a little bit if he still wants to join us. But you got any final thoughts, Millennial? Because I know you got to get up out of here.
Just it was a good season. I don't know who are you rooting for in the playoffs?
What, the college playoffs or the NFL playoffs?
NFL.
I don't give
Nobody.
a shit.
Really?
If they're not Raiders, I don't care.
Really? I'm going for.
I don't get it. As far as I'm concerned.
Damn. No, I kind of get into it where like I want Josh Jacobs to win. So I like seeing former Raiders kind of
look.
go on.
If I was asked this question in the last stream, but if I'm to care even just a smidge for somebody to win, for me, I'm hoping it's one of these teams that don't win or haven't won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
so not the Chiefs.
Like year in, year out, it's like the Chiefs and like whoever else are the top dogs. It seems like a consistent trend. Like the Ravens are another team that's always there in the mix. And the Packers are in there again. But look, like, just give me a moment. I'm gonna bring up. Give me Mo. Nice to see you, Jeff. I'll just finish what I'm saying.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
I know what happened. I plugged my mic in after I'd already opened up the studio, and that kind of screwed it all up. So
all good. But you're not alone in rooting for Jacobs. Look, I want him to succeed, just not against us. But I guess like maybe the Lions. But like I stand by what I said. If the Raiders aren't there, I don't give a shit. I don't care about none of these other teams. I am not going to watch a single snap unless like I'm trawling my phone and I turn on the cable TV and I'm just need something to watch in the background. Other than that, don't give a shit. But anyways, Millennial, any other final takes before I'll shoot with Jeff for a little while?
No, that's all I got.
All right, tell the people where we can find you.
Instagram, YouTube, Millennial Raider. I'm on Facebook too, I guess now, and TikTok. But yeah, doing that giveaway on my Instagram. Check out my pin post. Have a great day. That's all I got.
I got you. And once again, I appreciate the gifts that you got me. You and Pedro, thank you very much, brother. I don't know what to say. It's very humbling and made my day, my week. And yeah, I'm going to try and get these framed and find somewhere to put them on my wall. So salute to you, man. Much love, brother. You keep doing your thing. And for those who haven't, if you can, subscribe to his YouTube, follow him on Instagram. If you look in the description for the video, you'll find his handles down there and you'll be able to follow, subscribe, and all that jazz. So Millennial, appreciate you, brother. You have yourself a good day. You take care.
Nice to meet you in person, bro. I've been following you for a while already.
Nice to meet you, man. We got to do a show one time.
Definitely.
All right, brother.
All right. Appreciate you, man. You take care.
Later. Sorry I didn't see your message earlier.
No, that's all right.
I was up super late last night. Woke up at 11 o'clock, dude. I'm still kind of like, my eyes are still trying to adjust for the morning.
So how you feeling about the rehiring, or not really the rehiring?
I'm okay with it. I really am. I didn't want to see him go. I really didn't. The only way I would have been okay if he was let go is if we were going to be able to hopefully bring Vrabel in, but I mean, there's no choice about it. He's going to New England. I can't imagine them hiring anyone else there. So that wasn't even going to be an option for us at that point. Once they fired Mayo, because we were still at the bar with the club watching the game, and I mean, the Patriots game was over, and within 15 minutes, one of the members came over to me and goes, "Hey, the Patriots just fired Mayo," and I gave out like a fuck because I knew at that point that's where Vrabel was going to go. So I'm like, God damn, they didn't waste no time. I mean, the fans were probably still leaving the stadium, and this guy was already out of a job. Yeah,
Right. Well,
So-
I shared with Millennial before, like it's good that they're going to keep consistency. And
Yes.
Now that that's out the way, the next step, I guess, is working out what we're going to do in terms of like offense coordinator, defense coordinator, whatever other coaches, like assistant ones that we're going to keep in the door, move on from. But I'm happy that for the now, we're going with the consistency with keeping Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
Am I happy with his first full season as head coach? No, I'm not. It did fall from expectation, but look, there's more. There's still context to that. Like I believe, like there were things outside of his control that I believe caused the team to struggle as well. There were things in his control that he can do better, which I'm hoping he improves on next season. But at least he gets this chance, and we can focus on, like I said, whatever moves we make with the coaching staff as well as free agency and then the draft. We got to get it right across the board. You know what I mean?
But my big thing is I know that there were rumors that Patrick Graham didn't want to sign an extension and stay any longer. I'm kind of hoping that, now that they're keeping AP, that, Graham reconsiders and stays, because other than that, it's going to be hard to bring in. I think you and I said this the other day. It's going to be hard to bring in a heavy hitter on offense or defense for your coordinators, knowing that your current head coach is only still under contract for what everybody believes, because they've never said what his contract is, at least another year. So who's going to want to come here on a 1-year trial basis? I'm kind of hoping that if they open it back up to Patrick Graham to stay, that part of his reworking of his new contract is, in the event that AP does get let go, he becomes the automatic interim with the automatic in to be the head coach, just like the Patriots did with Jared Mayo. His contract was worded where he would take over as head coach if Belichick left, and that's exactly what happened. So do the same thing with that too, because I think everybody would kind of be okay with Patrick Graham being the coach. To be honest with you, I think he's earned that. He's tried for other head coaching jobs, and that helps add that consistency in a way, because it's someone that's already been here for such a long time and everybody's familiar with him. It's like a roundabout consistency, I guess you could say.
Do you think he's going to get an offer from other teams for an upgraded role as maybe
get
head
offers?
coach?
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to get looked at from other teams. What he did with this team, especially this year more than any of his past years with us, with what he put together for a defense through all of our depth issues and injury issues, and still had, what would they finish in the top 15, top 10?
I heard that.
range?
What did you say? They were overall ranked 10. Did someone share that on the last time we shared the panel?
I heard he was anywhere from 10 to 15. That's still that's better than half the league. Even at 15. So that's impressive with everything that we went through on, injuries.
The eye test, it passed for me, like with the context that was involved, like being that the strength of our team was the defensive line, specifically the defensive ends. We lost all three of our key parts that were supposed to be the strength of the team. We lost Malcolm Kuntz before he could even take a snap. We lost Christian Wilkins, our highest profile free agency signing, and I thought he was living up to it for the most part in those first 4 games. I like what I saw until he went down injured, and we lost him for the season. And then Max Crosby pretty much playing week in, week out, hurt until he couldn't anymore. So we lost him for the last 3-4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So that's 3 alone. There's more guys that miss significant time as well. and we didn't, for the most part, have depth. And all good, Leo. I was just throwing it out to you and West Side as well. But yeah, I agree. I think they passed the eye test, and like I was a real big critic of Patrick Graham in his his first season as the Raiders defensive coordinator. I thought, like, look, here we go again, a guy we bring in the door that gets all kinds of hype from the Raider faithful, and he just doesn't live up to it. But I definitely feel he did in the last 2 seasons he's been with us.
He definitely won over a lot of people. There's no two ways about it.
Will PG take Rob Leonard with him if he goes to either place? Who's Rob Leonard? Is he a defensive line coach?
Yeah, he's like his assistant. So, I mean, that's a name I've thrown out too, and a few other people have. If we do lose him, I mean, he's the no-brainer to take over if you stay within house, because it might be easy to, bring him up in-house and try and bring someone in from the outside that's willing to come in here for possibly 1 year, So, I mean,
I said what I said, Chopper.
I love that. I think Leonard would be a good fit at this point, without a doubt. Again, just keep it within house, hire from within. Plus, everybody's familiar with them. So the defense, the players on the defensive side, probably, I mean, I'm sure they already respect him to begin with, So, I mean, I think it was the D-line coach is what he is. And that D-line, what he's done with them with, having to mix up talent like he's had to, they've shined this season.
Right. There have been bright spots in the absence of like Crosby, Wilkins, and Kuntz. Like Calais Chaser, once again, I have highlighted him on yours and this current live. I really like what I saw from him. Adam Butler, again, building up on what he showed us last season. A guy who was a low-key guy no one really expected to really be much more than a depth guy when we brought him in the door. And since then, he's actually been the most productive interior of anybody that we brought, whether it's free agents or draft capital. Like, he's been one of the most productive defensive interior tackles. Like, name another interior guy that's been more productive than him since the days of Seymour and Kelly.
No, I don't think I can.
Give me one name. I can't think of any.
I can't.
And how many have we brought in the door? It's been a very mid position to say the least. But Adam Butler, a guy who's all business and a quiet achiever, so to say, and someone I definitely respect, and hopefully he comes back next season. But yeah, Calais Chase and Adam Butler, and Tyree Wilson. As much as I criticized him before. Like, I still don't believe he's lived up to that first round expectation. But he did have some spot plays throughout the course of the season. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, he had some good games, but I think he had more mediocre to non-existent, like invisible play type games. I just what just gives me hope is the fact, or promise, is the fact that the games that Wilkins was there with us, how well he played,
right.
And what could have been this season if he would have made a full season. I mean, what an impact he would have had on that defense, Then here we are, we finish where we finish ranking-wise on defense without that guy all year. His immediate impact would have been if he was still here during our KC games, we would have won both those games. I believe that 100%. We would have won those games, especially the game where we got 5 sacks on them. I mean, having him in the middle.
Well, to that comment there, it seems like Chopper, he's definitely a fan of another team. Maybe the Lions. I'm not sure, but
what team is he a fan of?
We'll segue that to maybe. Would you be open to the possibility of trading Crosby?
You're asking me this?
I'm asking you.
If teams come a calling, I'm listening. And I've been on this for the last couple of weeks. I've been saying this on different shows and my shows. If teams come calling, I'm listening. And if the offer is too good to be true, or too good to pass up, I'm jumping it. I'm sorry. I know, it's not a popular take. I know a lot of fans don't want to see Crosby leave. I don't want to see him leave either.
You're not saying that either. But
If someone
I
comes in and offers us a first round pick this year and a first round pick next year, if we don't have to give up anything other than a player, that in my estimation, he's going to be asking for a lot of money coming up now. This is his next contract's going to be his big one that he's going to be wanting again. And you
his
can't
next
fall in love with a
contract could
player
be
like
his last
that.
big payday, to be honest.
Huh?
Sorry to interrupt. His next contract could be his last chance of getting a big payday.
Exactly.
Then
So
that's another 3 years down the line. By then, he's probably going to hit the downturn of his career.
Exactly. So we're going to be paying, a shit ton of money to keep him for a player that may not be as productive as he is right now.
Right.
I'd rather get extra draft picks and turn that into two guys that can do what he does, type of thing. If you get somebody on the defense, or again, we have so many holes to fill. That's why I'm not opposed to letting him go for the right price. I mean, if Telesco really works his magic, he could turn that into something really, really good. Like I said, even if somebody calls and says, "Hey, we're going to give you a first round this year and a first round next year," I'd be like, "Okay, that sounds really good. What else? You really want him that bad? We're holding all the pieces in our hand right now. We got the guy you want. That's going to help you get to where you want to be. Sweeten it up just a hit, and they throw a second round in for say this year. Sold. Boom. See you later. I'm done. Let him go."
I don't see Crosby getting look, he's been our standout player since he's been in the door, like the guy who's been the consistent and our centerpiece when everything else has kind of been burning down, so to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's been the one consistent guy who's been that commitment to excellence ever since he's been in the door. To me, if I was to have a Mount Rushmore of defensive players since the year 2000, he'd be maybe that third or fourth face there alongside Charles Woodson and Khalil Mack, as well as maybe Nnamdi Asomugha. That's my Mount Rushmore. But anyways, with that said, I'm right there with you. Look, if a team comes a calling for the right price and it's an offer that's too good to pass, then I'm all for whatever makes this team better for the future.
And that's how you have to look at it. You have to look at what it's going to do for the future of the team.
But like I don't see 2 first rounders being that. We traded Khalil Mack in his prime for a first and a second. Max Crosby is 3 years after like that prime period. Like, I mean, he's still in his prime, hopefully. And I believe he's still got a lot to give, and I'm hoping it's with us. But yeah, look, I'm all for whatever makes the Raiders better at the end of the day. And if it's for the right, if it's an offer too good to be true, then I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, I mean, I know I said 2 first round picks, but I'm just throwing numbers out there as a
right. I was just throwing it out there when I thought about it. It's just like, well, the Khalil Mack trade, we got a first rounder and a second rounder, and that was when he just come up a 17 sack season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, I'm not knocking Max Crosby, but this season where like he was still highly productive, he's still our marquee player, but it was a little bit of a down year for him. There's context to it, but he was also hurt. So I guess
he played hurt all season.
How much more of this peak period Max Crosby has he got left? You know what I mean?
And that's why, I mean, if you get a chance to get value back for him now at this stage of his career, you take it, is how I'm looking at it. Right. Because in 2 years from now, you ain't going to get that same type of offer for him. Even a year from now, you might not get that type of offer from him, even though I know he went out injured at the end of the season, had surgery and everything, but he did it right. He did it. The season was a wash already at that point. Right. No sense in prolonging it and further the injury even worse. Get out of the situation, go get the surgery, get yourself healthy faster for next season, and get yourself healthy faster for a potential if someone calls looking to trade for you, so he can pass all those physicals and everything. So there's no questions, because you get a limited time frame to be able to to trade him for draft picks. You got up until draft day, basically. Once that time comes, and that day is going to come fast. April's going to be here before you know it.
Right. I'm hoping he stays and still produces for us, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I hope so too, because I want to see what him and Wilkins together can do with this team. And then if we keep Chase on playing on the opposite end, I mean, that's a pretty good front three right there in my eyes. And then you just add some other pieces in. You get some other
and
players.
hope Tyree establishes himself, right?
I think we're done with him. I do. I just,
as much as I criticize the guy, I'm not done with him per se, but he, like, next season, there's no excuses for him. I don't want to hear no more like
yeah, I agree.
The coaching. He still needs time. You get those kind of concessions with your first 2 seasons, but year 3, like, if we bring back Max Crosby. With Clavon Chase on, if he's still in the door and is there's no reason for me Clavon Chase is not going to keep elevating unless of injury or off the field issues. Christian Wilkins hopefully comes back healthy. Maybe possibly we re-sign Malcolm Kuntz, but I believe he's going to be out the door, unfortunately, if we look to keep Clavon Chase on. But I hope to see him back. But that leaves Tyree. It's like, where's Tyree in the mix of things? Like, he needs to elevate himself, establish himself, and make the coaches take notice. Like, this is a guy who's producing in camp and looks the goods. Like, on paper, he's not our starter, but he needs to make a point of it with his play. Like, like, he's good enough to be that starter. And there's no that for me is the bare minimum expectation of a first round draft choice. I don't want to hear these excuses like, oh, players can't choose where they were picked in that. Well, like I said, did Jamarcus Russell get that concession? Did all these other draft busts get that concession? Oh, they don't choose where they're drafted from, so that makes it okay. It's the coach's fault. No. I'm not buying that. No fucking way.
Sorry, I'm just trying to turn. Now that my eyes are a little bit more open and awake, I could turn the lights on. Because other than that, I'd be sitting here like,
No, you good.
I mean, and I know you've said this before too. It's like with Tyree, when you're a top 10 or in his case a top 7 pick.
Right.
I mean, your expectation is up here because we're picking you so high.
Yeah.
And then your actual return on the field has been down here somewhere. I mean, that's huge, especially when you got a guy that was picked 3 or 4 picks after him who's excelled since he walked in the door in Philadelphia.
Right.
Everybody, and I think that's just the fact with Carter would have been probably picked even earlier than Wilson because everybody was a little scared of his off-field issues.
Right.
But I think
he would have gone top 5, top 3, maybe.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. In some cases in the past with the Raider organization, we would have taken a flyer on that guy regardless of his off-field issues.
Right.
Because of his just pure talent and how good he really is.
Right.
Philly saw that. He fell to them at number 10. I mean, that was a no-brainer in their eyes, and it's worked out for them tremendously.
Unfortunately, they were a team that at the time that could take that chance, and I said it at the time. We weren't that team at that time. I mean, we just the off the field issues of recent times with the Las Vegas Raiders, and salute to you, Lecky. Nice to see you in the feed. Hope all is well. So I do understand why we passed up on him, but like, I mean, I'm not even looking at like comparing him to Jalen Carter. Like, I'm just standing on. Like I keep saying, there has to be a bare minimum expectation with first round draft selections, especially top 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to elevate yourself to be a decent enough starter at the very least. That's my flaw. You know what I mean? Like, come year 2, year 1, maybe you might have some concessions to be just a rotational guy, but I don't want you being a rotational guy year 2. And that's what Tyree Wilson has been this year. Granted, like I said, he's had his spots, but a rotational guy is not good enough. That's not what you draft within the top 10. I didn't give Cleve Farrell. I said the same things about Cleve Farrell. For me, that wasn't good enough either. You know what I'm saying? A guy who was decent against the run, a rotational guy, but that's not what you want from a top 3 pick. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want drafting rotational guys in the first round. Like that's what you want to get from rounds 3 onwards. You know what I'm saying? Like not round 1.
Well, and then you look at like our this past draft. We got 3 picks in the first 3 rounds. All 3 are starters pretty much week 1. I know JPJ wasn't starter week 1 and everything because of injuries and such, but all 3 guys had an immediate impact on this roster this season, which is what you want, especially in your first round picks, which is why I've been so against drafting either one of these 2 quarterbacks in the first round, because they're not going to have an immediate impact. They're both going to sit regardless. So we're going to waste a first round pick on 2 players that aren't even going to touch the field unless an absolute emergency situation. And we're going to have to wait at least another 2, possibly 3 years before we see them on the field and get some, return on that investment of that first round pick.
So you don't see the possibility of a Jaden Daniels type situation with either of those 2 quarterbacks?
I think Jaden Daniels, if we would have been able to get him, he would have been a starter right from the get-go. I think he's just so much more talented than either one of these 2 this year.
Okay.
I mean, we attempted supposedly to move up. Nobody was listening. I mean, there were too many, way too many extremely.
Look, Washington were a team that were quarterback needy. They weren't like a team who's quarterback needy, much like we are. If you're in that top 2 range to take a quarterback who's well deserving of going in that range, you're not going to give up that pick unless it's like an absolute bounty. And we were willing to give up 3 first rounders. They still said no. You know what I'm saying? So, I can see why Washington just took, made the pitch. My point, my only reference for bringing Jaden Daniels up was that, like, he's a guy who came in and started and has produced quite well. Like, it's not outside of the realm of possibility with these guys you bring in that can start off the rip and be a good quarterback right from the get-go. You know what I'm saying? That's the bullseye with round 1 selections.
Yeah. Definitely.
You're getting a guy who starts and is productive, like a Brock Bowers. You know what I mean? Like he's, it could be the next great tight end for years to come. I mean, he's already broken records in his rookie season, right?
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I hope people don't get too not hyped, but they don't set their expectations too high. Is he going to do the same thing next year? I don't expect him to do the same type of numbers next year, because I think teams are going to key on him now. Right. Plus, if we do the draft right and free agency right, he won't have to be that guy every game. And that's the goal. Right. You want to be able to spread it around your team so your opposing defenses have to kind of respect everybody that's out there in the skill position. Right. Like for us, I'm surprised he did as well as he did, because teams could have just keyed on him and shut him down completely, like Denver did with putting Surtain on him. They shut him down that game. It was almost like he was non-existent. And I thought going forward for the rest of the season that he wasn't going to have as good of a rest of the season, because teams were going to take that blueprint that Denver put out there. But not everybody has a guy like Surtain that can match up well with him. And Surtain just matched up beautifully with him that day. And hats off to them for shutting them down. They came up with the scheme that worked for them. No one else fully took advantage of that. But again, a lot of teams don't have that type of player either.
Right.
So
but with Brock Bowers, like, there's no reason why he can't continue with that play of excellence. Like, just, you're right. Like, he won't. I'm not expecting him to be record breaking every year. Like, if we do our job right in the off season, where we've got we bring other weapons in the door that other teams have to worry about and key in on, which I don't know, might work in his favor. Like, they takes the attention away from him, but like, if we have other weapons, we can utilize them, which is like sharing the well rather than like, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe we could run the ball more effectively and have more run players instead of having to pass it all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like my expectation for him next season, again, this is all going to depend on who we draft, who our free agents are and everything.
Right.
My expectations going forward for him would be anywhere from that 80 to 90 catch season. I don't expect him to get 115 catches every year or 100 or whatever catches every year.
No.
because there's going to be too much to spread the ball around to. Hopefully, if it's done right, where I do see him excelling is in the red zone in touchdowns.
Right.
Being used like a Mark Andrews from Baltimore. Where he's more of a scoring threat going forward, because that's what you want from your tight end. You want that big body within that 20-yard line, within that red zone, to be able to muscle his way through and get those touchdowns for you that you weren't getting before, because we weren't getting that production from a tight end prior.
Right.
It's been a while since
not since the Darren Waller.
Exactly, and it's been
Right.
what 3
well,
years
there was
now.
we were only one season ago, I guess 2 seasons removed from Darren Waller at his best. He did come back. I mean, he was still good, but he wasn't the Darren Waller like he was when he was at his peak. We moved on from Waller. We brought in, we drafted Michael Mayer. We brought in who was that other free agent that year we brought in?
Oh my God, was it O.J. Howard?
Whoever it was,
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but he didn't. I think the guy from Tampa Bay didn't make it past pre. It was the other guy.
Oh my God, why can I not think of his name?
Yeah,
I know
I'm
exactly
having
who you're talking about
too. But like it was probably the most mid our tight end room had been for a while, because we'd always had that legacy of in recent times of like other positions have not been so great, but tight end's always been a position we've had somebody that's like either been consistent or in that top echelon. Like
except
going
for Ricky
back to
Dudley.
What Ricky did you say except for Ricky Dudley?
Yeah, that kid had stone hands. He couldn't catch a goddamn cold if you gave it to
him.
But
after him, who was the guy who used to play without gloves? Doug Jolly. That's it. Shout out to my guy on 6, likes Doug Jolly. But Doug Jolly, Zach Miller, Brandon Myers. When Zach Miller was gone, he started to produce for a season. Kevin Boss was pretty mid, but Michael Rivera, a guy I liked. What's his name?
I liked Miller when he was here. I really did.
I like Miller too. Who was that guy who went to the Chargers? I'm having a brain fart. He was here 28. Jared Cook. That's it. Jared Cook, another guy. And then Darren Waller, who for me has been the best tight end that we had since the days of is it Dave Casper or Gasper? I think it's Casper.
Dave Casper was
Dave Casper and Raymond Chester and Todd. Is it Todd or Ted Christensen?
Todd Christensen.
Todd. Right. These are players like I didn't watch play yet. I've seen them in spots on the Raider Classics, but I know of their greatness and I know of their production. You know what I'm saying? Before my time, but if you're a Raider fan and a diehard, then you gotta do your research on the Raider greats.
Right? Oh
yeah. But yeah, look, it's nice to have a Brock Bowers who's bringing that excellence back to the tight end position, something we missed last season. Like we drafted Michael Mayer, who's still in the door. He showed some spots this year when he had his number called when he came back from dealing with his personal issues. But he's still a guy who, like I said this about Tyree, I'm going to say this about Michael Mayer. Like there's a level of expectation, and I guess granted, like, we're not going to need him to produce as a starter because we've got Brock Bowers there. But I still want to see more productivity and consistency with Michael Mayer when his number is called. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I did like what he did in spots, but there was times when I thought like he could have done better. He was dropping some balls. You know what I'm saying?
The other thing too is fans have to remember with Mayer, he's a much better pass blocker, run blocker. Bowers is good at that, but Mayer is definitely the better additional offensive lineman out there when he's out there in blocking situations. So, I mean, a lot of people will be like, he's not catching the ball. You got to remember, tight ends are a different breed. They're not just pass catches. They're also that extra lineman. Right. So their blocking ability has a lot to do with, their production on the field too. Whereas that's why I like Mayer, to be honest with you, because I think he's a hell of a lot better blocker than he is, he's still a good pass catcher. Don't get me wrong, but for a tight end on our team, we need him to block too, especially, with our weakness being our offensive line.
Right. No, I get that. Like maybe that's something I'm overlooking with Michael Mayer, because you're right. He is, he's a good enough run blocker. Is he one of those elite tight end run blockers? I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen others.
No, I wouldn't say that.
It's
but
something that like I can appreciate with Mayer, but I still stand by what I said. Like, you know, that 2022 draft class, like the one where we so far it's pretty much Jacorian Bennett who's been the standout, and Aiden O'Connell as well. But like that's a draft class where I believe we had 9 or 10 draft picks, and the best of the bunch being Jacorian Bennett and Aiden O'Connell. Like those are the kind of draft classes that really hurt us in the long term. You know what I mean? Like we
need
were
more
paying
draft
for it
classes
this year,
like last year
when we were looking for depth. You know what I'm saying?
We need more draft classes like last year where you
like
hit the first
exactly. We
picks.
need more draft classes last year, not like 2022 where we're still waiting for like players to establish themselves, especially in those top 3 rounds. I mean, you know, one of those guys is off our roster. He didn't even make it past his second preseason. I mean, Byron Young. You know what I mean? Like got outplayed by Matthew Butler, another guy who's just hanging on by a thread. Who's, you know, I'll give him credit. He showed some signs of life, but that's not really saying much. He's another guy who's going to be fighting for his roster spot again. But like, yeah, with Michael Mayer and Tyree, like those two guys, like, yeah. How many times can I say it? Like, I feel like I'm a broken record. Like their third year, they need to establish themselves. They're going to show whether they got it or they don't. And I'm not giving either of those guys no passes and no excuses.
Yeah. This whole season, I feel like we've been a broken record. Everybody that does any podcast content or whatever, because it's
right
every week. It's just been the same thing. You know, I mean, we haven't had a happy moment all season, and except for the Baltimore win. Really, in all honesty,
right.
I mean, even when we just barely won that one against a team we should have blown away. You know, beating Baltimore was like granted, I know we won 2 towards the end too, but beating Baltimore.
The Saints game, I would say was
a big bright spot.
A bright spot being that like that was a game where I think we for the most part won that from whistle to whistle. We didn't really have a moment or a period like where like we were the momentum was shifting, so to say, because we had that against Baltimore where we had to actually take the momentum away from them. And the Cleveland game as well. Like, I guess the highlight would be that Ravens game, being that they're a really good team who was at the start of the season when they didn't have like roster issues with player personnel being injured in that. So yeah, like that was the highlight of the season, and the Saints game. You know, granted it was at the tail end of the year, but whatever. But there hasn't been too many happy moments.
Bright spots. Happy times.
Going 4-13, is it 4-13?
I will say this though, that Baltimore game, and I've said this before on other shows, it's a good thing we played them when we did, because if we would have played them a couple of weeks later in the season, they would have destroyed us. You know, they were still Baltimore's still trying to work out their not issues, but their consistency and camaraderie on the field. You know, it was only Henry's second game with them. You know, so they were still in that feeling out process, and I think we just came in and caught them totally off guard. Again, if we would have played them a couple of weeks later, that game would have been completely different, because they would have been gelling at that point. Because from that point on, they turned it around after that game. I think we kind of woke them up, basically. They're like, oh, shit, we just lost to these guys. I think we caught them at the right time. Definitely at the right time.
I like this comment here by Raider Pete. AP has one more shot at player and game management. If the QB room is built, the brilliant OC will eventually come. Right. Well, that's going to be a point of interest with what are we going to do with the offensive coordinator? I mean, do we retain Turner or do we go in a different direction? I mean, I got to be honest, like if we go in another direction, I'm all for it. If we give Turner a chance, I'd be open to it. Like I mean, I thought he did okay with all things considered.
Well, was it during Sunday's game? They showed a stat during the game of our offensive play, like our yardage prior to Turner taking over, and then after Turner. I mean, it was a pretty good size uptick.
Right.
So I mean,
the
you can
offensive
see where
efficiency had definitely
yeah.
been noticeably better from the statistics and from the eye test. I mean,
Yeah.
the
So, I
run
mean,
game had picked up, like the passing game. You know, I mean, we're
that's
missing a
being
lot of
increased. It increased by like
firepower
about
on the
50
offensive side
yards
of
a
the ball.
game,
So I think
40
he
to
did
50
okay.
yards. So I mean, you could see that progress was made with him. But now the whole thing with Turner is, does he stay? Does the rumor happen that everyone's kicking around that he goes to North Carolina to be with Belichick? I don't know how those two connect somehow. I don't get it. But whatever. I mean, if that's where he goes, that's where he goes. But now we're back in that pickle again. Who do we bring in for possibly a 1-year deal to be our OC?
Right.
Because I really don't know if there's anybody in house that could take over. I know Philbin is a former head coach. I know he's an offensive line coach right now. Could he be the OC if we stay within the organization? Who knows? I mean, this week here, this is the main focus of, AP and Telesco and the ownership is getting in your DC and your OC. And now let's move forward at that point. You're going to fill in these ranks this week or next week, the latest, and get moving, because if we wait for some of these other teams to get knocked out of playoffs and such, now we're falling further behind on getting the team, like the rest of the plan got set up for next year, for free agent, for draft. Because you want that input from those OCs and DCs.
Right. Well, yeah, it's going to be another point of interest. There's many points of interest with the off season, and now that we're here, now that we're finally at the end of the season, and we can look forward to, I guess, free agency and the draft. It's going to be there's a little while to wait, but it's going to be an exciting period, nevertheless.
Yeah.
So
this is going to be a busy off season.
It's going to be busy,
off-season.
but we really, once again, we need to get it right. We got to get it right across the board, and it's going to dictate where we're going to be. Maybe not immediately. Hopefully, immediately, if we get it right, we can be where we want to be. That would be the bullseye. But like, I'm not expecting year one that we're going to be pushing for a playoff, go to a Super Bowl. I hope so, but for me, I want to see at least progress, and for there to be enough hope. You know what I'm saying? With like our young players, like that we bring into the door, that like much like, remember 2015. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't make the playoffs, but like there was enough there where a lot of us were like, right, we can see this team's trending upward.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be where we want to be in a year's time. And we did get to that. We lost 2 games in 2016. Unfortunately, we didn't progress further in the playoffs because of I don't know what happened. But it's to my point. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what my bare minimum expectation next season is. You know what I mean? And any less, unfortunately, AP's got to go. Like, I'm giving him. I'm willing to ride out this season. Reluctantly, like I didn't, again, like it was a disappointment, but next year needs to be better. And that's my bare minimum level of what I'm willing to expect as better. You know what I mean? If we can get more than that, fantastic.
What's your expectation on win losses or just wins next season?
Look, I don't usually like to give those. I was on a few panels that
I'm
did
putting
those,
you on the spot.
even at the start of last season, where a lot of people were saying we were going to win 12 games, 11 games. You know, that's always wishful thinking for me, unless there's concrete evidence that this team is good across the board. You know what I'm saying?
I picked 5 last year before the season started.
Okay,
I didn't think we were going to be super
to you,
duper.
actually. Unfortunately, you never want to be right about these things that are detrimental.
No, you don't.
Raiders, so yeah. I'm not going to give a win-loss record. That's my answer.
Let me reword this then. What would make you? How many wins do you think we'd have to get in order for AP to stay
next season?
That's kind of how I should have worded it. Like what makes him?
I'll put it like this: a 7 to 9 win season is around that region. Like, would be my.
You're pretty much right on target with what I thought. I'm going anywhere from 6 to 8 wins, and I think it would be considered going in the right direction.
Right.
You know, like some people are like, oh yeah, we could win 10 games if we have so and so. Like you're pipe dreaming. I mean, these are the type of fans that think that, and I saw it last night on the chat. If we would have had Harbaugh, we'd be in the playoffs. If you think any other head coach could have come into this team this past season and taken us to the playoffs, you're out of your damn tree. Because there's no way anybody could have taken this team to the playoffs with the talent we had on this team and all the injuries we went through. This team finished exactly where it should have based on all the issues we had. What does it say? I got to lean over this way. My laptop
No, that's
monitor
okay.
is small. I can't read it.
That's all right. Yeah, look. Again, we just got to get it right across the board, and
yeah,
I'm not expecting playoffs next year. If we can get there,
I'm not either.
Awesome, fantastic.
I just want to see progress.
I want to see progress. Yeah, I'm gonna. That's gonna be my answer too. I just want to see progress, and there to be enough for us to be faithful that we're on the right road. Like the trajectory might not be going this way, but I want it to at least be going like that.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be like this, and I don't want it to be like this. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be like this, which is like a lateral move. You know what I mean? Like a lateral move from this season. No, that's not good enough.
For me, progress is showing that we're running the ball efficiently. We're getting more than 100 yards in the game and rushing. Our quarterback's throwing for 250 to 300 every game. We might not be winning all the games, but it's showing that our offense is moving the ball. We're scoring more than 20 points on average. To me, that's progress. Even if we don't win in, a shit ton of games, it shows that we're moving in the right direction. It takes time. Detroit's a perfect example. He didn't turn that into a superstar team overnight. It takes you some time and consistency. People want this immediate, boom, we're in the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. It just doesn't, it's not that way anymore. There's too many different variables that changes that every week, every season. It's not that quick fix. Like we're going to draft one player and we're going to do it all.
What about? Well, I just want to address this question, then maybe we'll talk about the running back room. What do you guys think about trading for a QB like Hendon Hooker or Tanner Mackey as backup? I haven't seen either of those two guys play in the NFL. I mean, I know the name Hendon Hooker. Salute to you, Jerry. Nice to see you in the feed, but I don't know this other guy, Tanner Mackey. But do you have any thoughts on any of those two guys?
The only thing I know about either one of them, and this is kind of funny, Hendon Hooker, one of the guys in the club wanted him to be drafted by us so he could get a jersey that said Hooker on the back. other than that, I don't know.
I've only seen highlights of the guy playing, and I don't think that's fair to judge a player by YouTube highlights. When that's about the extent of my knowledge. I know my guy Raider Critique was high on him, as well as I think Hardcore Raider. But I guess the real question is, are they better options, or can they be better options than Aiden O'Connell?
Tennessee.
Hendon Hooker was Tennessee. I think he was drafted.
Yeah, I knew that
last season. The season
that's
before.
About all I know about him.
Right. So I guess we're the wrong people to ask to answer that question. Again, like I don't like to pretend like I know what I'm talking about if I haven't seen a player play, and all I'm doing is Google statting. Like that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? There's more. There's
make
more
something
to it
up
than just Google statting. You got to have the eye test.
Yeah, and if it's something that you don't know what you're talking about, and you just throw it out there, and you can remember.
There's too many of those on the YouTube scene who have no idea what they're talking about. They just, let me do a quick Google search real quick. Oh yeah, he's a good player because he. Oh, there we go. He had this many receptions. Yep. I know what I'm talking.
Yeah. You got to remember when you put something out here like this, it's here forever. Unless you physically go and delete it off your YouTube channels. So it's out there. So someone could always come back and say, "Yeah,
stick
but you
to what you know, what you believe, and don't
Yeah.
pretend to know what you're talking about when you don't." But with the running backs, I mean, we had this conversation on your live. I mean, I've how many times do I need to say it? Like I want us to revamp this running back room.
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
want us to overhaul it almost completely. There's some guys there that I'm willing to keep in the door. I mean, Amir Abdullah showed it more of the same, Mr. Consistent. But like, even if he goes, like, I'm not going to cry spilt milk. Like, thank you for your services, but you know, he's getting a little older, but he can be that rotational veteran presence. If he's not here, he's not here. Sincere McCormick, a guy I've been heavily critical of, being that this is a guy who's been languished on the practice squad for 2.5 seasons. We haven't seen him on the field, even despite our running back woes. What is he still doing there? Here, you know what I mean? But he got his chance, and he made good on that chance, which is what I wanted. Fantastic, good for him. I'm not sold that he's this all-pro, all-elite player. That's not what I'm saying, but he's at least proven that he can play. So I'm willing to keep him around for one more season, fight it out in the preseason with these other cats that we bring. We're going to bring cats in the door. I don't doubt that. I think we might even draft 2 running backs. I'd be very open to that. You know what I'm saying? But we got to bring some younger, stronger, faster
competition. That's what we need. We need competition in that room.
I had I made this comment on your live. You cannot tell me that we cannot bring 1, 2, or even 3 guys in the door, and one of these guys can't produce more than 2 what yards per carry.
Yeah,
and be better than the dead last team ranked when it comes to rushing yards and you know, rushing yards per carry. Like being ranked 32 in the league. And how many times, I might sound like a broken record, but this is to my point. How many times have I said it? Name one season, 1 year in anybody's history of being a Raider fan where they could say the running back room was overall worse than the one we had this season. And name me one feature back we've had in 30 plus years that averaged worse than Zamir White as a feature back who had a decent amount of carries. Not these guys who just got hurt after 1 or 2 games, because Zamir White had a decent stint of about 6 to 8 games where he was the feature back and averaging 2 yards per carry, more fumbles than he does touchdowns. Nobody's going to sell me that that's good enough that we need to give this guy another chance. No.
Yeah, no. I am totally done.
And I don't want to hear this, oh, Zamir White can be a fullback, let's turn him into full.
No.
Are we really going to turn
I've heard that too,
guy into a project player, into a project position? Fuck that, man. No fucking way. Get him up out of here. If we need a fullback, just get ourselves a fullback.
I am so done with Zamir.
I get really critical of the running back because I've always had and take care, James.
You know what? You're like me.
I love a lot of the running backs we've had in the room in my time as a Raider fan. That's always been a position where like the running back has been one of, if not my favorite player. Like I don't know if you saw it before, but one of my favorite Raiders of all time at his Raider best. I just got this given to me by
McFadden.
McFadden. It's signed on the back here. I don't know if you can see it.
That's tough to. Yeah, I can kind of see it. It's in silver on the black, right?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like we've always had, even these years where we haven't had like an all stud, like Darren McFadden in his prime, Josh Jacobs in their prime. Like we still had good guys like a Latavius Murray, like a Justin Fargas or a Lamont Jordan, like days of Charlie Gardner, Tyron Wheatley, Napoleon Kaufman. You know what I'm saying? Michael Bush. Like we've always had somebody, and this year who do we have? Like Alexander Madison was only a little bit better than Zamir, and like I still believe he was pretty mid too.
You know what I mean? See, y'all like how you are with the running back room. That's how I feel sometimes about the offensive line. Like I always played offensive line, whether it be in high school, semi-pro, flag football. That's what I did. So right. I can on the offensive line, and I have been extremely. Anybody that knows me or sees any of my takes, no, I am extremely down on Parham. I just sometimes I can't even watch him, and I try not to watch him. And the ball gets snapped, and my eyes automatically, if I'm watching the game, key to number 66, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I don't want to watch him, So I feel the same way about offensive linemen like you do running backs, but I agree with you 100% on the running game. The running back room is atrocious. I'm fine with keeping Admir. If he stays, he stays. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
If he doesn't, he doesn't.
because I think he could be good as a third down back with that, because he can catch
That's,
the ball
that's
out
all
of the backfield.
we're asking from him. Like, it's just to be a spot guy. That's all I want.
Yep.
Like, I don't want him to be any more than that. You know what I mean? Like, I want us to bring in, like I said, one guy, two guys, even three guys. One of these guys have got to pop. One of these guys have got to be better than 2 yards per carry. I don't want 3 yards per carry. I want a guy who can at least consistently get us 4 yards per carry. Madison is way better than Zamir, but that's not how bad Zamir is. Well, right, like Madison was mid. You know what I mean? Like, he was averaging what, 3.2, 3.3?
No, I think
Like,
worse than that.
that is nowhere near close for me good enough. I don't want
No.
no 3.5s, 3.7s, 3.2s, 2.8s.
Yeah, because even if you average, if you total that up, it's still under 10 yards. You ain't getting a first down.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I want that 4.5 to 5 range, or 4 to 5 range. At least
Give me,
if he runs
give
it
me
3
a running
times
back that averaged 3.5 yards or less than that a season who was worth a damn.
Yeah.
Tell me, please, somebody in the history of the game.
I honestly think that we could bring in a free agent and draft 2 rookies. I think that would be absolutely perfect. You know, because then you can really clean house with your running backs. Get rid of everybody else but McCormick at that point. You know?
Right. Well,
I mean,
Raider says the draft is, sorry to cut you off, the draft is
okay.
not as deep as running back as people claim. Not super confident in Genty, but if he is the best available number 6, I'll take it. Well, I've heard big things about Genty, and I don't know what the running back room looks like. There's another guy that people talk about. What is it? Scadabo
from
Scadabo,
Arizona.
whatever. I haven't seen these guys play full game, so I'm not the right person to ask to judge these guys, because I don't like to just judge a player by like what I've heard and by highlights. But I have heard Genty is a stud, and this Scadabo's guy is getting rotation. Sorry, go ahead.
If you rewatch the bowl game that Arizona played in last week, and you watch him in that game, just watch him in that game. I mean, this
Are you talking about Genty?
No, Scadabo. Sorry,
Kelly Raider.
You will see that this kid left everything on the field. He didn't have another ounce to give of his body.
I heard that. I think I saw some highlights from.
I watched that entire
Jack Jones,
game.
He was sharing some stories and talking about Scadabo.
I mean, yeah, this kid was. They didn't lose the game because he played bad. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, he gave everything he possibly could to win that game for them. I mean, he was to the point where he was so physically exhausted, he was throwing up on the sidelines because he was just spent. Genty, yeah, he's a good running back, but as soon as he came up against a good defense in Penn State, they shut him down. Now, shutting him down, yeah, he still rushed for just over 100 yards, which you would think, well, that's shutting him down. Well, yeah, when the guy's averaging 160 or 170 plus a game, and you
right.
hold him to,
Remember you made this comment on the last time we shared the panel?
Yeah, you hold him to 100
he only
yards.
had 100 yards. Fuck, are we crying about only having 100 yards?
Yeah,
I
but you're holding him to 100
twice on a
yards.
Sunday.
I mean, that's kind of impressive for a guy that was averaging what he was averaging, you know? And the other thing with Genty is he's going to come with a lot of mileage because they ran the living shit out of him this past season, you know, but it was also against much lower talent, you know, as far as the other teams because of the division they play in. Again, they hit Penn State, and Penn State just shut them right down.
Yeah, but they shut him down for what, 100 yards?
Yeah.
Like I said, are we really crying about 100 yards?
Well, if, look at it this way then. So if they shut him down at 100 yards, if a running back is averaging 100 yards and they shut him down at, so if he's averaging prior to 160 to 170 and now he only rushes for 100, that's like saying a guy that averages 100 yards a game just got held to like 45 to 50, which is, that's, if you look at it on that end, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I guess I'm just looking at it the end from like, you know,
I get what you're saying.
He gets shut down, and we're talking about going for only 100 yards. I mean, we had 100 yard.
Yeah, exactly.
This season.
Yeah, and it was at the end of the season.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look, whether it's Genty, whether it's Scadabo, whether it's anybody else, I don't care. Like I said, surely one of these guys that we bring in the door can be better than 3.2, 2.8 yards per carry and elevate us from being dead last.
Yeah.
Dead friggin' last in the league when it comes to yards per carry and total yards in the rushing side. That is not good enough.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't draft at number 6, to be honest with you. I think we may end up trading that. And I already know who we're going to trade it to, because they're going to come calling, because they want that pick, because they want a certain player. And I think it's going to be the Cowboys offering us to swap picks with them, give us something else, because I'm telling you right now, Genty is going to be a Cowboy. There is no two ways about it. That is a Jerry Jones type of a pick. That is his guy. I would not be surprised, because he'll make it to 6. I don't see him getting past any, I don't see him getting drafted in the top 5. So I think he makes it to number 6. And if he's there at 6, the Cowboys are going to come a calling. I would not be surprised. So that's where we can score some picks, because I don't think we should take him anyway.
Look,
That's,
if we do take
I'm
him,
going out on a limb and saying that
if
right
he's
now.
the BPA running back on the board, then if we take him from, because I know my guy Westside is in the feed. He's high on Genty. And if he's as good as advertised, then I'm all for it. Like I would like to have have a stud running back in the door, and him to be able to produce like that, like a Josh Jacobs, Darren McFadden at his best, Charlie Gardner, Tyrone Wheatley. You guys know all the names. I don't want to go another season with a Zamir White and an Alexander Madison.
No, we're definitely not. We're definitely going to address the running back in this. We have to.
Right.
But, it's just
but the other
there is some there is a lot of running backs in this draft where we can get one in the 2nd and 3rd round and still be that top running back for us, and a hell of a lot better than Zamir White.
Like I said, surely we could get someone even round 5 who can do better than 2.what yards per carry. Come on. I mean, we found Latavius in round 6, 2013, and he was good for a while. You know what I'm saying? So
I just rather see us use on. If we stay at number 6, I'd rather see us grab a dual Carter, Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. Even if T-Mac's there, the wide receiver, I'm fine with taking him to any one of those 3 guys. I just don't want to take a running back that early. I think it's too early for Genty. I really do, but that's my opinion.
I agree with that comment by Westside. We need running back just as bad as anyone else, or trading out is not really an option for me. Right? If there's a running back that's good enough to take in that region, I'm all for it. If it has to be round 2, round 3, whatever. Like once again, I don't care. Draft 1, draft 2 if we have to. I'm not moving into next season with these Alexander Madisons or Zamir Whites. No fucking way. Even Dylan Lobby, Dylan Lobby's a guy I'm going to be taking a point of interest in with his preseason. You know what I'm saying? Because we drafted in round 6. We still have high hopes for him, but he didn't really establish himself on special teams. And when he did come on as that situation running back, he did fumble the ball. Granted, look, he's a young guy, developmental guy, but I want to see progress in preseason next season. Otherwise, if he's not good enough to outplay these other guys, these younger cats that we bring in the door via the draft, or if we keep Ramir Abdullah around, or even Sincere McCormick, then you got to go to the practice squad, man, and hone your craft and hopefully get better to where you can establish yourself.
Yeah. I just wish we would have seen him the last couple of games of the season, get him out there and evaluate him in game time situation. That's the only downside with Lobby. I don't know why he didn't get out there, especially when we were so hurting in the running back room. I mean, 2 weeks ago against the Saints, we only had really 2 running backs. You had Madison and Abdullah. Why wasn't? Right. Why weren't we?
Did you notice there was that other guy who was on the field? What was that guy's name? I'd never even heard of him. There was that other guy.
Oh God, yeah, I know you're talking about too.
There was this guy, I saw him on, and that's another interesting thing, because it's if this guy no one had even heard of is taking snaps at the tail end of the season when we're in evaluation mode, well, where the hell is Dylan Lobby?
Well, and they had just picked him up too.
Yeah, Raider. I'm gonna find out his name. It was Colette or something, I believe. I don't know. I'm tripping, but there was definitely a guy that was there that I'd never heard of. Collier, that's it.
Collier. Yeah, Collier.
Who the hell is that guy? Where the hell did he come from? And how is it he's taking snaps? And where the hell is Lobby?
The Lobby didn't even have a single touch in that game. Nothing. It's I don't get it.
Right. Like I said, look, I'm not giving up on Dylan Lobby, but I want to see progress.
I'm not giving up on him or McCormick. I mean, they both still have a possible position on this team, whether it be special teams or not. But I want competition just like you do. I want multiple guys back there bringing in. If some
I
work,
want
they work.
competition and I want better. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be no excuse not to be better next season. But just this comment here by Westside, and salute you, Reese Rock. I see you in the building. Thank you for joining the feed, my friend. Honestly, if it don't matter running back if we don't address the offensive line, right? Well, there is. Look, I know Westside's not as high as what maybe I am with the young guys we have in the room, like Jackson Powers Johnson and DJ Glaze. And I will say I do feel Colt Miller, as disappointing he was last season, I thought he was getting better towards the last end of the season, at least with his pass protection.
He was healing up better, I think. Too.
He wasn't getting noticeably beaten like he was earlier in the season. But Dylan Parham is a guy who's kind of polarizing. You're very disappointed somewhat. But we're definitely going to need another interior. And
we need 2 guards. Plain and simple.
1 or 2 guards. Maybe we can find a veteran presence out there in free agency, not these Andreas Pete or Cody Whitehead type guys.
No.
Like someone who's like
we're going to spend money to bring someone in.
But at the same time, like when we draft in that round 3 mid-round range for an interior guy, we usually do quite well there. So I'd be open with getting ourselves a guard within that range. You know what I'm saying? Like people seem to forget, like, when we talk about like taking a quarterback or running back or whatever we might be, like, people say, well, I want to get a quarterback or a running back or whatever. Like, it's like that. People say that it's like, well, that's not like that's the only draft pick we have. We've got like a whole litany of draft. We've got 8 draft picks. You know what I'm saying? We've got 2 third rounders. Like, it's not like if we go in one direction, round 1, we don't have draft capital later on to address these other areas of need. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I
know. I'm trying to find. Here it is. Offensive line.
You trying to find a comment?
There's a guy from KC that I know. Leo keeps mentioning.
I'm just gonna read this comment in the meantime.
Yeah, go for it.
We all said, well, when Collie was out there instead of Lobby, why not feature Lobby when it doesn't count? Right. Well, I mean, it could be a coaching decision, but it also could speak volumes about like Lobby and his development. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's going to be something wrong with him. Is for them not to give him a shot. I don't understand what's going on.
And those are 2 other guys I wish I'd have seen a little bit more of. Christopher Smith, Trey Taylor. I mean, we haven't really needed to see either of those 2 because I think, like, with the emergence of Polamalu and the guy we did see as that third safety, who's that guy? Thomas Harper, is that his name? Harper. Hello, are you frozen?
No, I'm here.
The other safety that was we saw more of. We didn't see Christopher Smith or Trey Taylor. That third guy, Thomas Harper. Yeah, we see Rock Harper. Yeah, like I liked what I saw from Harper, especially in those last 2 games. I thought he did reasonably well. But yeah, like, Christopher Smith's another guy that I'm looking at. It's like, where the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy who's been on our team for 2 years and done what? You know what I mean? Trey Taylor, I had high hopes for, but granted, this is his first year, a 7th round pick. Like if he can amount to being even a rotational guy, cool, that's a win. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of these 6th, 7th round guys don't really amount to nothing, and I can live with that as long as we get it right in the first 3, hopefully 4 rounds. But yeah, like, but to that point, like Christopher Smith, where the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, what's he done? I even noticed like Amari Bernay getting out there and doing something some of the time. You know what I mean? Like, he's another guy that I'm earmarking that, like, I want to see something from come preseason next year at the bare minimum. Otherwise, he can get up out of here too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too with the issues that we went through on defense with injuries and everything is we're seeing plays that we normally, in game that we normally wouldn't have even seen in game. Just because of what we went through with injuries and depth issues and and the fact that, again, like we said earlier, that they still turned into, what they finished in a ranking.
I just want to address this comment here by Lecky because he's not wrong. He did get cooked quite more often than not. But I will say with Richardson, he's still a guy that, like, I don't know, I see something in him. And, like, granted, he got cooked, but, like, just context to that. Like, this is a guy who was asked to start on the outside because of injury and depth issues. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't. He was a developmental guy. He wasn't supposed to be there, but by hook or by crook, we had to put him there. And you know, like, he does get cooked. There's still things he needs to work on, but, like, at the same time, there's still things he did that I like. Like, he did take his shots, but I liked his tackling. He did show on some plays that, like, he had some good, decent catch-up speed. You know what I mean? He does need to get better in the contested catches. But there's still, I see something there with DK Richardson. So I don't think he's all the way trash. Trial by fire with him. Hopefully he can get better and become like maybe have like a Jacorian Bennett kind of bounce back sophomore season, or be like an Amik Robinson, because Amik Robinson was another guy who was taken in those mid to later rounds, who was taking a lot of licks like in his first season, 2 seasons, and then he started to really turn around and become like a good depth rotational guy in the dime or nickel, because that's what I see from Richardson. I don't see him being that outside starter, which is what he was called upon to do in his rookie year. So a little bit harsh. I understand it, but I think there's context to his struggles. You know what I'm saying? Trey Taylor was blacklisted by the NFL. Rookie 101 mistake. Don't call the face cash cow the NFL. Kermit, homosexual bitch. I believe he called Mahomes that. Yeah, he did. With that puppet muppet. Yeah, rookie mistake. They addressed it. We hadn't seen it on the field, but I do want to see him return and do some things. So
yeah.
And like, yeah, he made a mistake with doing that whole thing, like probably not the best thing to do on social media, like, but like, with that said, like, this is a guy who was a high character guy before that, like, and after that, like, one mistake isn't really going to change that for me. So I do want to see Trey Taylor and see what he can do, hopefully sooner rather than later. Any other takes, Jeff?
Not really.
Should be gone on 2 hours. I was only supposed to shoot for an hour, but I appreciate you having you on.
No
thank
problem,
you
man. This is fun.
chopping it up with us. Sorry, I didn't have to edit for your name down below, but
it's okay, no big deal.
Yeah. Jeff, do you want to share with the people where we can find you and what you got going on? So just give me.
You can find me on YouTube under _Raider Boosters.
Salute at Redwater. Kenny?
Huh?
Sorry, I'm just saying salute to everyone while you speak. Go ahead.
You'll find me at _Raider Boosters. That is our YouTube channel. If you go there, you'll see all the links for all our other social medias. We're on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook. We have a private group on Facebook, but anybody can join. I'm usually the one that allows you in or out. As long as you don't show that you're a Chiefs fan or a Pats fan, you're good to go.
Thank you, Robert. Robert just shared out your channel.
No, thanks, brother. I appreciate
Abe,
that.
Wishful thinking, but hopefully someday soon.
Yeah.
Keep going now, Jeff. Go ahead.
So I am on Wednesday nights with Leo, LV Raider 10, and Jay from Just Raiders Win Baby. We do the Raider Connection on Wednesday nights. On Thursday night, it is myself and LV Raider 10 doing the Raiders coast to coast, me being on the east coast of the USA and he's on the west coast, hence the Raiders coast to coast. And both those shows go on at 10 o'clock Pacific time. I'm sorry, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific. I keep getting my time zones all screwed up.
You're going to talk to me about screwing up time zones.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning for you right now, right?
It's 2 o'clock in the morning for me, my friend.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry. 2 o'clock.
I don't even if I'm plugging or advertising my show, I don't even go by my own time or Australian time. Like, I'm always doing it by US times. So I'm kind of used to it now.
I mean, it probably makes sense. I mean, your biggest following is probably over here, right?
Well, yeah, pretty much like 98% of my
I mean,
following is
I'm
from
sure
the
there's probably
States.
not too many
And maybe
Australian
I got
Raider
some,
fans.
people in Mexico, and there are people from abroad, like all over the place. But like the majority is the US side of things.
You know what?
I actually, when I started, I tried to cater to the Australian small Raider YouTube sort of Raider community here, and I was doing shows on Australian time. I did find some guys. Shout out to my guy, Tatted Giraffe, Raiden. He's still in my feeds a lot. But for the most part, the Australian Raider community didn't want to fuck with me. So I was like, well, the hell would you? I mean, I'm getting support from my US brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
If you're not going to support me, then the fuck would you? I'm not going to cater for you. I mean,
I hear
my
you.
American brothers and sisters have opened me with, was welcomed me with open arms, and like I've chosen to embrace that.
I love talking with you. I mean, you've got some of the best takes I've seen or heard since I've been doing this, and
I appreciate you saying that, but I don't know, man. But
I love listening to you.
I'm just a
what you're
fan
doing.
who I look. I'm not going to say I'm all this and all that, but when I try to formulate my opinions, I try to formulate that with some reason. You know what I mean? I try to not go too far left or too far right. I try to just be down the middle, so to say.
Well, you stick with your
But
convictions.
if I have to be hard, I will be hard. Like I'm critical of some guys, like a Zamir White and Tyree Wilson, but at the same time, it's also out of love too, because I want those guys to succeed. Because if they're winning, that means the Raiders are going to have more chances of being successful, right? If they're winning, we're winning.
It's funny that you mentioned the Mexico thing too. I think you and I talked about this already. The amount of followers I have that watch my channel from Mexico is incredible. I didn't realize that until, like a month, 2 months into me doing this. I'm like, God damn. I'm looking at where the most views are coming from. I'm like, Jesus Christ, most of them are coming from Mexico. I'm like, all right, well, I got to make sure that when
we are the team Mexico.
yeah, when I do
Raiders is
stuff, I got to make sure that that's one of the countries that I'm making sure can read it. Can.
I mean, we've
get
got a
access
few
to it.
people with Latino descent in my chat feed. I mean, Jerry, if I'm not mistaken, you have Latin descent. Who else is in here that's got some Mexican in them? There's a few others. We got Lecky, my guy, who's actually Tongan. He's Islander like me.
I'm half Portuguese. Does that count?
Portuguese is would that be considered Latin?
I don't think so, but it's close to like the Spanish.
Good morning,
language.
Raiders.
I mean, Brazil is heavy. It's mostly Portuguese in Brazil too. So, and I can prove it. I got the Portuguese flag on my arm. See, there it is.
I can see that. That's what's up.
It's my grandfather. I'm half French, half Portuguese, and my mother always says the good side of me is the Portuguese side. So,
I got you.
I have to agree with her. I can't disagree with my mom.
I like your women over there in Portugal. Anyways, thank you, Jeff. Thank you for coming and giving us your insights and takes and extending the show.
No problem, brother.
I see you, Raider Solid. Nice to see you in the feed. A few guys who just joined in the feed. Appreciate seeing you guys. Robert, Sal, Reese, Afakasi sounds like John Amici. Knowledgeable but can break down harsh words with articulation rather than just a bleep this and bleep that. I appreciate that, Reese.
Yeah, so in other words, he doesn't Americanize when he talks. He does it with well,
it's funny you say that.
Race, I guess you could say. Whereas I'd be like,
speak to people I meet over here, they don't think I sound too Australian. Like I don't sound like your stereotypical Australian. Like here in Australia, if I'm meeting someone new, they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'll say like, I'm born Australian, but like they'll be like, "Well, you sound like something different." And I usually tell them, "Well, I do commune a lot with my American friends. Maybe that might be why I might sound like them. I don't know."
I mean, you sound Australian to me, so I couldn't tell you the difference. I mean, just like here in the United States, you might not pick up on it being from another country, but people in the USA will notice a distinct difference between the way I say things versus someone on the West Coast.
Yeah, man, I notice you've definitely got like that East Coast, like you're from New England. That's around the New York region, right?
More Boston than anything.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You said
No,
Boston.
I'm an hour south. Not even. I'm less than an hour south of Boston.
Right.
So,
well, that the way you say Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
like,
kicker.
like we drive a car.
I can. I've started to learn like the differences between like people from the East Coast and then the way like say people from Oakland speak. You know, the Oakland kind of twang to their accent, so to say. Cali Australized accent. Well, maybe if you want to call it that. Raider Solo. Afakasi say, let's put another shrimp on the barbie. All right.
All right, here we
I'll
go.
say it normally first, and then I'll say it the stereotypical way. All right. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie, mate. That's how I would normally say it. But the stereotypical way to say it would be something like this. G'day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie, love. Fair dinkum. I don't speak like that.
Here in Northeast, it'd be like, just put another fucking thing on the goddamn barbecue, will you? It's like,
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? Hang on. I'll let you go on. Put on your best Australian accent. I want to hear you.
Oh, me? Oh, good.
Yeah.
God.
Go ahead. So I want to hear you say, "Let's put another shrimp on the barbie."
Oh, really? All right.
Just before you do, my friend Raider critique when he tries to put on an Australian accent. This guy sounds cross between Scotland and I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was Austria, not
this is
Australia.
going to be a mess. I can tell you that right now.
So, yeah, I want to hear it. So go ahead. You hit it. I'm actually going to put you on the solo. So just give me one moment.
Lord.
I'm going to bring you up.
This center stage. Hey, it's my big shiny moment.
Here we go. It's your time to shine. So I want you to say it. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie. Go ahead, Jeff. Take it away.
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie. Yeah. Oh my God, I sound like I just literally just like a Australian accent. What the fuck was that?
One more time. I'll give you one more time. Go on. Come on.
Wow. What the hell was that?
One more.
Put another shrimp on the barbie, mate.
You sound British / Irish. I'll hang on. I'll bring you back out. I'm gonna give you the second time around. I'll give you a 4, a generous 4.
That first one, I don't know what the hell that was.
I'd give you a 2.
That was definitely like a Southie from Boston,
right?
With an Australian accent or a tenth of one.
Wow, Jerry says we discovered a new accent.
Yeah, I think so.
You sound like a booty pirate. I'm going to have to make this a regular thing on my show where someone's going to have to throw out something to say, and I'm going to get my American friends, whoever's on the panel,
dude, that'd be awesome.
And try funny. And sound Australian, because like it's been the consistent. I got to be honest, where you Americans struggle to give a decent Australian accent, even a halfway decent. I haven't ran into any of my American friends who can even come close to sounding Australian.
Is that better?
That's all right. I'll give you a 5, an upgraded 5. Whereas for me, it's funny because like an American accent's pretty easy, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, just look at all the English actors that come over here and take roles on in the U.S. and they play, right. They play American speaking, roles, and you couldn't even tell that they were English unless somebody said, "Oh, they came from Scotland or lived in Liverpool or whatever," So it's like you listen to them sometimes. And why is it every time someone from the UK sings, they sound like they're American? You never hear like an English accent when they sing. It's unbelievable. And probably the same thing down there where you guys are too. Well, Men at Work, you couldn't tell that they really had Australian accents for the most part when they sang. Some did.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because like if you sound American, like in like the media, you know what I mean? Like it's normal for audience when like you're hearing like the English language spoken, because that's pretty much what you hear for the most part on the TV is like an American accent being the norm, so to say. You know what I mean? Like, so when you see like a Crocodile Dundee or the Crocodile Hunter, when they come on the TV, like, but bearing in mind those are the stereotypical Australian accents, what people think that we all sound like. It kind of stands out for better and for worse. You know what I mean? So you kind of want to just blend in. But I noticed, like with epic movies like 300, they cast a lot of Australian actors, you know, because that accent.
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I remember taking my son.
Oh, Leonidas and his brave 300. I love it.
Second one was horrible.
I don't know. There are a lot of British actors that suck at an American accent. All right, well, maybe I should oblige before we leave. Give me something to say, and I'll try and put on my best American accent. Can somebody in the chat put something, and I'll try and articulate it in my best American accent, please. I'll give the chat maybe 20 seconds. Me. She sells seashells beside the seashore.
How about right out of Taxi Driver? You talking to me? Are you talking to me?
All right,
Robert
hang
De Niro talking to the mirror. I know you're not talking to me.
Give me a minute. All right. Damn it. Now you put me on the spot. All right.
That's a tough one because now you want him to do a southern drawl.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? I don't see anybody else standing here.
Not bad. Not bad.
All right, hang on. I'll try this one. My Ritzy Rock.
Not bad. Oh,
English, motherfucker. Do you speak it? That was bad. That was terrible. Park the car. How about them apples?
It's park the car. If you're in Boston, you're parking the car in Harvard Yard.
The car.
Yeah. How about them apples?
Get your motherfucking hands off me. There are snakes in
King Kong ain't got nothing on
better
me.
than this. I'm terrible at the moment. All right, you guys got me. I'll give myself a 2 out of 10.
Oh, Raider Rebel, let me hear your redneck. Oh, good Lord.
My what?
Let me hear your redneck, Raider Rebel said.
Redneck.
Redneck.
Like an American redneck?
It's the slang for like Southerners, you know, like down south part, like, you know, Alabama, Arkansas, shit like that. That's kind of considered like redneck area.
Like
I couldn't even do it right now.
Redneck hillbilly yokel. Yeehaw.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you sound like an old prospector from the 1800s, but yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's something.
There's other rednecks. Oh, this show just took a dive. I love it though.
Right. All right, gang. Well, look, it's 2:20 a.m. I hope that provided some form of entertainment. But
that was good.
Thanks for coming on, Jeff. I do appreciate you. I know.
No problem. Not at all.
Letting
man.
you go. Like, I mean, what was it? 15 minutes ago, and here we are still talking. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother, and everybody in the chat. I see you all. You know, much love, and you know, you guys have a good day. I'm going to
need to talk about the Tecmo Bowl because I want to get into that.
What's that, man?
We definitely need to talk more about the Tecmo Bowl. I want to get into that.
Hit me up behind the scenes, and I'll show you what to do. It's not that hard, but
yeah, I'm sure it's not.
Sure.
But
we're looking for more players. Me and my guy Critique. So if anyone's out there who want it, come and get it. All right, gang. I'm Afakasi Raider. Down below, you got Jeff, New England's Raiders booster. Is that how you say your name full?
It's Jeff. On any underscore Raider boosters. So it's New England Raider Booster Club. Is
AKA Jeff. All right. Take care, gang. We are Raider Nation for life.
Glad we made you laugh.
Win, lose, or die. You know what time it is. Jeff, it's Raider Nation till we what?
Till we die, baby.
Thank you for not leaving me hanging till we friggin' die. And shout out to your wife. Hello. Nice to see you.
So you wanted to know about redneck, right? Google Jeff Foxworthy and then come back and get your redneck roll.
You'll hear
Jeff Foxworthy. Okay. Well, salute to you, Miss New England Raider Booster
That's my
Club?
wife, Dawn.
Your wife, Dawn? Did you say?
Dawn. DAW, like the
Well,
sun.
Dawn, nice to
Dawn.
virtually meet you. Anyways, I really got to get out of here. I got to get some
All
shout
right, later,
outs.
bro. Go
Take
get
care,
some
gang.
food.
We'll catch you on the flip side for sure.
Later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.